So I actually have updated my little avatar as well. I got a new little cartoon avatar without a beard, so that way people don't get confused. Hey Gene, how you doing? Good to have you here. I've got Fred Gleek with me once
Hey, Mark.
again. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I was just saying that the unbearded Mark is like a completely different character, I think, really.
I can what would that be? Kind of reinvent myself, I guess, right?
Absolutely.
Is the unbearded Mark nice? Is he neat?
Oh, I think it's excellent. I think people are, delighted to see you have a face.
Well, I actually for a long time I actually just shaved my head, but once I grew out a beard, I realized it made me look really mean to have a shaved head and a beard. It was kind of like it belonged in a biker gang or something like that. So, but I'm thinking about keeping the hair this time. Should have worn this, Paul says. I actually put together an homage to my beard. If it's
So
kind of it's kind of silly,
I
but
saw.
I'll share that with you guys. I tried posting it on Facebook, but they wouldn't let me because I used trademarked copyrighted song, and so I wasn't able to share it on Facebook. But here, I'll post this. I'll post this in the chat here. If you guys don't watch it now, you can save the link and watch it after the webinar. But that's my homage to my beard.
So
Um,
I got a question from Kelly who just came in. She goes, first off, she loves the reinvention, but the question of the day, is there a way to see overall stats in funnel steps since a funnel's inception, since when you started it, or is it only a 30-day time frame?
let me go ahead and share my screen here. I'll turn off my webcam so you can see the full screen.
Cool.
So when you go into your funnel, this is one I was just messing around with. I was putting together some documentation on how to do an hourly web class. So if you guys want to know more about that, I can go over that as well. But anyway, as far as the stats go, there aren't really like overall funnel stats. You have funnel stats. You have stats on each step, and you can change right here where it says last 30 days, last 7 days, this year, or all time. So if you want to see all time stats, you would change that to all time. And then if you're selling a product, it'll actually say sales right here. You can do the same thing. You can see all your sales. You can see all your contacts. And you can change this time window. And so that's what it is right now. 7 days, 30 days, 2 months this year. So beginning of 2016 or all time would just be from the beginning of the funnel.
Kelly, there's your answer.
Yeah.
Another one from Melanie, if you don't have anything else to add to that.
Nope. Go ahead.
Melanie's asking, can she use both PayPal and Infusionsoft with its merchant account at the same time? In other words, can she give people the option to buy using her Infusionsoft merchant account or a PayPal address or both?
Well, yeah. So that is possible. With I'm going to actually just kind of draw that out because it's going to be easier to illustrate. So like on your order page, okay, this would be your order page. So you would have Infusionsoft integrated for the order form that's on the page, and then you could have like a PayPal button, okay? So this is like the PayPal button. So what's going to happen is that you're essentially creating like a branch of your funnel. And so if somebody checks out on this order page using Infusionsoft, it would take them to the next step of the funnel. So if you have an upsell, it would take them to there, and that would be a one-click upsell, right? And then if they're using PayPal, though, that would take them to the PayPal site to check out. And then if you wanted to present your upsell, you would actually have to take them to a separate upsell page. You could basically clone this upsell page and send them there, but your button on the page would need to link back to PayPal so that they could So you would go from that button, instead of being a one-click upsell, they would have to go back to PayPal to check out. So that's the disadvantage of using PayPal, is you don't get those one-click upsells.
So then, Mark, let me understand this. So to go from PayPal to the one-time upsell there, is that something that you have to put into PayPal to say after you're done with the order, go to this page, or is that something within ClickFunnels?
Yeah, so it's in PayPal. You create a product in PayPal, and you can get the link or the button to embed onto your order page. And then in the settings, you can say after a successful transaction, send them to this page.
Got it.
So it's still an OTO. OTO is a one-time offer. It's just not a one-click upsell OTO.
Got it.
Now, I saw somebody had the same question, but with Stripe, it'd be the exact same way with Stripe. And this is why I recommend Braintree, because with Braintree is owned by PayPal. And so Braintree, the order form itself, actually, you can enable the PayPal option, and it would still work with your one-click upsells. So what happens when you use Braintree is instead of taking them to the PayPal page, they get a little pop-up on the screen where they log into their PayPal account and authorize the transaction. It brings them back to the order page. They submit the order. It would then take them to the one-click upsell, and they've already authorized PayPal to basically, approve any transaction that they click yes on after that.
So based on your recommendation, I'm using Braintree, and so for me, I don't have to go through this additional step. But if you don't have Braintree, if you have any of the other processors, you have to do that. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Good. Makes sense to me. Stephanie's got a question. She's having issues with the CSV file for importing contacts. Anything you can maybe just go over that real quickly to show her?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things to troubleshoot there. Let me go ahead and go back to, I can't find my mouse cursor. Hold on. There we go. Let's go to Actionetics. I'm going to go to Contacts and click on Import. And you'll see here you can choose your CSV file. You can add them to a specific list. You can, if you select this Queue Emails option, it's going to queue emails for any action funnels. So if you want to import contacts to a list but not trigger an action funnel, you would deselect this option here. And then down here, really tiny, where you're probably not going to notice it, there's a link for an example file. And so I'm going to, I think it's going to make me download a file. Yeah. So I'm going to open this. You know what? Let me see if I can. I might have to open this in another window here so we can see it. But I'm going to upload it to Google Drive real quick, so that way everyone can see the file. And oh, come on. It's just previewing it. I want to actually edit the file. There we go, open with Google Sheets. So now, can you guys see Google Sheets there?
Yep.
Okay, so this is the template, and this is actually incorrect right here. This should just be zip, not zip code. But this is the format your CSV file needs to be in. And so you have to have these headers in order for it to import correctly. First underscore name, last underscore name, email, phone, etc. And these are actually the only fields that are supported for import. The other thing that may be happening is if you are using this format, but if you're using Excel to edit your file, there's, I don't remember the exact setting, but there's like an encoding option that you have to select. And so I always recommend just using Google Drive because it downloads it in the correct format. But if you are editing it in Excel, make sure it's saved as a CSV file. And then I don't remember exactly what the encoding is, but there's some sort of encoding option that you have to change. It's like the UTC encoding or something like that. So
and just to remind everyone that what you're using there is a free service as part of Gmail or Google.
Yeah, you have to have a Google account, which is Gmail typically. So you can just upload your files and edit them and share files. So it's really easy to use.
Speaking of Google, a question not related to that from Norman. Do you have any training on integrating Google Analytics into ClickFunnels and like actually reading Google Analytics data as it's coming back through?
So I honestly I haven't had a chance to really. I'm not a Google Analytics expert. I know that there is a lot that you can do with it. And at one point, I was actually looking into like their certification that they have for Google Analytics just so that I could learn more about it. But I mean, the basics of my knowledge goes to where to add the analytics tracking. So you would add that in your funnel settings. You click on settings and then add it to the tracking code here. So your analytics tracking code would go here. And then once you actually...
Would that be a pixel thing in Facebook?
It's similar. It's a script that comes from Google Analytics. But as far as optimizing how you're using Google Analytics, that's beyond me. I don't think we have any training on that. The best training on that is going to come from Google themselves, or maybe some other Google Analytics courses. But I mean, as far as integrating with ClickFunnels, I mean, you can use you would embed the tracking here. I've seen some other services like ConversionFly. Excuse me. ConversionFly. And so what they do, it's like tracking for your funnels. And then another one, I was actually just at Jeff Walker's LaunchCon event in Los Angeles, and these guys were there, Funnel Dash. And so they do something similar, where basically you set up kind of the tracking across your funnel. And so they're in beta right now, but essentially it's going to give you those analytics. Oh, say goodbye to Google Analytics and confusion. There you go. That's their value proposition. So might want to check that out.
Okay, so I've got a question here then on this. You writing that, I didn't make my question clear, which is the Facebook tracking, the pixels, whatever they call them, you have to put that in there as well?
Okay, so your Facebook pixel tracking is typically going to go into the first or second step of your funnel. That's another one that I'm not an expert on, the Facebook pixels, but I know, so like essentially with Facebook pixels, they have what are called standard events. And so the standard events are what allow you to track different things, right? And so for your registration page, for example, you would just have your Facebook pixel and you would add it to the footer custom tracking, and that's what would add people to your custom audience when they land on your site, basically. And then on your confirmation page, you would have, like after they opt in, you would have your Facebook tracking pixel with a standard event for your conversion, so you can track your conversions. And so the standard events are what are going to make it different. And so you would actually more than likely add your Facebook pixels to each page depending on what standard events you're using.
Got it. Speaking of stats, Harry's asking, how do I clear the stats after running tests to make sure all aspects of the funnel are working? In other words, he just wants to just zap them once done.
So I'm going to go into, let's go into this one here. So to clear all your stats, you would go into your funnel settings. So you click on Settings in the top right, and then click Reset Stats, and that'll reset all your funnel stats. Now, if you have any purchases, those will still show up in the funnel under Purchases, and so you would have to go in and delete those manually. But as far as the stats go, then it would just be just resetting them. And then you have these stats over here on the side, which says like 100%. These percentages indicate funnel progress. So it's the percentage of people who have landed on a specific funnel set who also landed on the first funnel set. That's why the first one is always 100%. So if this one is 50% here on the order form, that means 50% of the people who landed on the first step of the funnel made it to the order form step. And you can reset these by just rearranging the pages and then rearranging them back.
Ah, I didn't know that.
And that's also a really good trick. Like if your funnel isn't performing correctly, like it's not going to the right step, like after you opt in, that's a good, what that also does is it resets your funnel cache. And so it can help clear things up when you're testing.
That's a good little trick. Ronnie's got a question. How to create a funnel to share with members so they can have their unique affiliate link behind the call to action button?
So he wants them to have their own affiliate link on the share funnel?
Yeah, so in other words, I say, for example, I have got a group of people that follow me. I give them a copy of my funnel, but yet they want to put their unique identifier in there so that they get credit as an affiliate site.
Is the affiliate link for Ronnie's program, or is it for ClickFunnels?
I believe it's for his own program.
So essentially, your members could share your share funnel link with their affiliate ID for your program. Is that?
I believe that's what he's got. Yeah.
So there really isn't a way to have them add their affiliate link to I mean, you could add it to a share funnel link, but it's not really going to do anything. What you would need to have them do is promote an opt-in page with their affiliate link where people go and opt in, and then they download the share funnel from the thank you page.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Can you demo that?
Yeah. So basically, you have in the settings for your funnel, you can get your share funnel link. So the share funnel link already has your ClickFunnels ID, and so using somebody's affiliate ID isn't going to really do anything. And plus, the share funnel link is going to take people to a ClickFunnels page. And so what you would want to do is have like your opt-in page. So you have the URL of your opt-in page, and you could give them that with their affiliate ID. So in your affiliate dashboard, what you could do, let me go ahead and open this up in the editor here. I'm going to go back and I'm going to copy this opt-in page URL. So in the affiliate area here, what I would do is say promote this share funnel or something like that. And then on this affiliate link, I would add the link for my page. And so when somebody goes to this page, they're going to be able to get their affiliate ID. It says undefined because I'm logged in. It's still in the same browser. But yeah, so that's how you would get them their affiliate link, and that affiliate link would then take them to this opt-in page, and then on the thank you page, after they opt in, you would then take that share funnel link and add it to a button. So you could just paste the share funnel link on the button here and give it to them that way. So,
real quickly, in answer to Linnell's question here, I see, is there a fee for Braintree? One of the reasons I've signed up for it also is the first $50,000 in transactions are fee-free, so you have no fees on the first 50K. That's for Linnell. Now I got a question, Rab, I think it is. How do I get an action funnel to have conditions that replicate the audience split provided by the automation tab for a webinar? For example, to be able to say who attended but missed the offer or whatever, different things that happen. So getting an action funnel to have conditions replicating an audience split. Did this, did not do that.
Yeah, so for that, there's really not a way to do that because Actionetics is separate from ClickFunnels in that aspect, where when you have an auto webinar, the automations here will track those things. Missed webinar, attended but missed offer, saw offer but didn't purchase. Those all have to take place in this funnel. Even this purchase condition, all these conditions are based off of this one funnel. And so those email automations would need to be set up inside the funnel itself. You can use, if you have Actionetics, you can use the email editor, right, by creating new emails. So the default emails that come when you create an auto webinar are the HTML basic emails, but you could just copy the text from these and then create a new email using the email editor, and then just update the conditions and the delays.
Got it. But so you couldn't make it conditional upon their maybe having attended half of the webinar and then gotten off. You can't.
Yeah, not in Actionetics. So you couldn't create an action funnel in Actionetics to replicate the same conditions here.
Got it. I've got you know what, Mark? I've got a question of my own that's kind of a selfish one, but I think other people may benefit from it, which is this. Let's say we make an offer to people in which we say one of the elements of the offer is a 2-month free subscription to blah, blah, blah. And one of those items is they get access to a Facebook group for 2 months. What I want to do is make it so that after the 2-month period, they're automatically charged and they remain. If not, I kick them out of the Facebook group. Can I automate that?
So let me go ahead and go to the sales funnel here. So basically, the way I would do that is on the order form here. I would set up an action, and I would just set this to be an email notification to go to you. Well, hold on. I'm just trying to think. Now I'm rethinking it. Okay, so you're giving them a free trial?
Yeah, in other words, part of the conditions, one of their free trial or a paid trial, let's say it's a $1 trial, and one of the things that they get with that is 2 months free in a closed Facebook group. So what I want to do is, let's say I had hundreds of people that were doing that. I don't want to manually put people in and take people out of the Facebook group.
Yeah, I don't know that there's any way to automate removing someone from a Facebook group. I just don't know if Facebook allows that.
You mean there's no API that would go along with that?
I don't think so. I mean, there may be, but not that I'm aware of. And that would also come down to, what if somebody checked out on the checkout form with an email address, but they use a different email address for their Facebook account. And so there's a lot of variables there. But, I mean, you could set up an email notification either here or in Stripe when they get charged, and or when they cancel or something like that. So that you know whether or not to keep them or remove them.
I suspect it might have to be manual, which if you're getting a lot of orders and a lot of people trying this stuff out, it's going to be really difficult to kind of make that happen. So I'm just wondering, you're right, it's a Facebook issue in terms of interfacing with ClickFunnels and allowing for an add or remove, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know of any way to automate that, unfortunately. I mean, I'll look and see, like maybe Zapier has Facebook groups.
Another one, just as you're doing that, somebody's asking, Mark did recommend this to me. He says, do you still recommend SendGrid for email service in and out of ClickFunnels? Yeah,
for sure.
Why?
It's the easiest to set up, but also just from people I've talked to who are email deliverability experts, you actually get better email deliverability with them, especially if you have a paid account.
Cool. Questions from Mike here, which I think is interesting. If you just forward a domain name to a ClickFunnels page and don't integrate the domain name into ClickFunnels, do you think there's any SEO penalty that you're aware of?
SEO penalty?
Yeah, well, I mean, is Google dinging you for the fact that you're sending them to a ClickFunnels page rather than a custom domain? I think is a question.
Well, I don't think you're going to get any SEO benefit to your actual domain name because there's nothing. It's just forwarding, and there's nothing on that page, so that domain is never going to come up in the SERPs. It's just always going to be your ClickFunnels domain. but I don't see there being any kind of penalty for that.
Okay. Ruben sent something in here regarding script auto-remove members on group. Thanks, Ruben. I'll have Mark look at that, try and figure out if there's something that Ruben posted regarding, I think, that question.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'll check that out.
What integration, excuse me, can you use to have a live chat feature on one of the pages? Is there a Facebook Messenger integration like on WordPress?
So live chat, like I've seen a couple of different options here. Let me close out a few of these tabs.
And by the way, Scott Lovinggood just put, you can't automate Facebook groups anymore. They changed their API about 3 months ago. Thanks, Scott.
No.
I'm trusting you that information is accurate, but I assume it is. Thanks.
Okay, so let's go to the live chat. So there's a service called Drift. It's drift.com, and it's like a freemium option. There's also Intercom, which is intercom.io. Definitely more option just because of their pricing. And then you also have, so this is like, I don't actually use this one a lot, but they have so many cool tools. It's Zodabox and Zodabox.com. And so they have it's like kind of a freemium thing too. They have free tools, they have premium tools. But one of the free tools is this Facebook live chat. And you can actually embed a chat widget on your page that sends messages to your Facebook fan page. So, like when you have your Facebook fan page, you get messages there. This will actually integrate with that and send messages to your Facebook fan page.
Huh. That's kind of cool. That's definitely worth looking into. Got it here. Let's see here. Okay, so Samantha was volunteering that Facebook has completely stopped automation to the groups. However, 22 Social has one of the best softwares for tracking, receiving payments, and removing by a click of a button. So that's something she's saying. 22 Social. Haven't heard of them. Don't know what they do exactly.
I've heard of them before. I think it's like a just different like fan page widgets, basically. So you can do like giveaways and things like that. So kind of like WooBox a little bit, if you've heard of WooBox.
Oh,
Right.
Haven't.
So
okay.
You can do there.
Jean is saying she'd like. I'm sorry, Jean. I assume female. I'd love more information on hourly web classes.
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to be adding this to the support desk. I actually recorded the video already. And so all the code snippets that I mentioned will be available in that documentation that isn't up yet. But to give you an idea of what the hourly web class is, you can go to webclass.clickfunnels.com. And this is for the Funnel Hacks webinar. And so you see it says next web class today at 1 p.m. For me, it's currently 12:29 p.m. And so it automatically takes the next hour, and it's a top of the hour web class. So as soon as it is past 1 p.m., this is going to say next web class today at 2 p.m. and it'll have a countdown timer that counts down to each web class. And then when somebody registers, they put in their email address, and it'll take them to the confirmation page. And the confirmation page will count down to the next class, and it automatically redirects them to the broadcast. Now, in my testing, they actually have to be on this page. So, like, I have multiple tabs open. If I'm on a different tab when that timer finishes counting down, Google Chrome actually prevents pages from, auto-playing videos or taking actions if someone isn't on the page. So they would have to come back to the tab in order for it to automatically redirect them. So in order to set that up, there's a couple of things you need to do, and I'm going to show you here. there's about 5 custom code snippets. However, you don't have to modify them all. It's all copy and paste. You just have to follow the step-by-step that I'll have created here by the end of the day.
Now, is that, Mark, that's an example of where if you created that funnel, if you clone that funnel, or if we were to clone that funnel from you, would we then have to go in and change all those funnel snippets or whatever you're talking about?
Nope. So here you go. Here's a share funnel link. You don't even have to go in and add those snippets. You can add that to your account. Now, the only thing is you have to use the same templates that I've used. So
Yeah.
You can't change the templates, but you can go in and edit the pages.
Because as soon as we change the templates, that negates all the work with the snippets you put in there.
Yeah, so I mean, you can go in here and you can say, oh, delete page variation. It's going to delete the template. You can choose a new template, but all that customization is going to be gone. So to show you real quick,
it's worth it.
I open okay, so here's the registration page, and I also need the countdown page. I need both pages. So I'm going to open those in new tabs here. And on the registration page, you're going to add 2 custom JavaScript/HTML elements. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these so I can show you what I'm doing here.
Okay.
There's some custom CSS. I'll go in and delete that. And then there is, in the tracking codes, I'm going to delete this. Okay, so we can kind of start from scratch here. So the first thing, actually, what you would do is, in the pop-up, you would delete, you're going to see the auto webinar date and time fields. You would just want to delete those because you're not going to need them. You'll see on the example for the Funnel Hacks web class, it's only asking for an email address, but it also has the mobile opt-in. If you're going to do the mobile opt-in, you would need to be integrated with Twilio to send out SMS messages. I have a name field on here. You can use that if you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new element to the page. I'm going to scroll all the way down and add a custom JS HTML element. I can just double click on that and add it to the page. And then I'm just going to clone that one to add a second one. So I have 2 here. Okay.
Wait, how'd you just clone that?
I just, on the, you hover your mouse over the button, there's this 2 little sheets of paper.
Got it.
You can copy the element. Okay, so there's a few different snippets of code. The first one is going to be the next class time. So I'm going to click on this first JavaScript box, and I'm going to paste in this code here. And that's going to that's what's going to say, going back to here, that's what's going to say next web class today at 1 p.m.
Got it.
Actually, it might not even say next web class. It might just say today at 1 p.m. You probably still have to add the next web class. So I'm going to add that.
And that's just going to be a headline, right?
Right, just some text. So I'll add that. Let's make it white. And then let's say next web class, underline, bold. There we go. Let's add a colon there.
Yep.
All right, so this is going to display the time today. It's going to say today at 1 p.m. and it'll update automatically for each hour. And then the second one, this is going to be the countdown timer. So there's some more HTML that we need to copy and paste into here. Don't worry about all these code snippets. I'm going to add this to the support desk. Probably should be posting about that. Actually, you know what? Let me find a thing here.
But for users like me and a lot of people on here, if we're okay with your templates, we can just use it as is.
Exactly.
And it'll have the countdown clock and everything like that, top of the hour.
If you want to download the code snippets that I'm using, I'm adding a Dropbox link, and you can just download that. That's right there in the GoToWebinar chat.
Okay.
And so this second one is the countdown timer snippet, and then you go to the tracking codes, and there is a footer tracking JavaScript snippet, and you're going to paste that into the footer tracking. Then you're going to go back and go to the custom CSS, and you're going to get the registration CSS snippet, and you're going to paste that in there. and then you're going to save the page, and then you're going to go to your confirmation page, and there's a code snippet that you need to paste in the footer tracking here. And what this does is it fixes the add to calendar button. So once you've added those 5 snippets, you don't have to modify them at all. The only things you'll need to modify is adding these 2 things to the page and deleting the date and time selectors. So real quick, I don't know if I mentioned this when I started, this is an auto webinar funnel. So you would need to create an auto webinar funnel. Go to new funnel, post webinar, webinar replay, and that's going to create an auto webinar funnel if you're doing this from scratch. The other thing you'll want to do is on your registration page, go to your automations. I don't know, this was one of the questions someone had earlier was about these automations. But for example, like the default emails that go out here, they're not going to work as well because some of them are set to go, like this one's set to go out a day before the webinar. If the webinar is always starting less than an hour, this one's never going to send. This one here is normally set to send an hour before the webinar, so that one's never going to send. So I set it to negative 0.25 hours, which would be 15 minutes before the webinar. The confirmation would go out immediately, and then you can have these other ones set up too. If they end up not even attending the webinar, like you could change this one to 5 hours instead of 1 day. And so it'll go out 5 hours after the webinar. If they leave before the offer time, this one will go out. If they don't purchase but they stay for after the offer time, then this one will go out. So that's it.
Perfect. Hey, question from Tiago, which says, any way you guys can explain subdomains and steps to set up, or at least guide me to videos or a class that can help me. I think you have in the support desk, in the support area, some videos on subdomains, don't you?
Yeah, I don't know that there's a video, but I had videos in there at one time, but then we were updating our interface, and then Cloudflare is always updating their interface, and so I took down the videos just because they were outdated. Yeah. But it's a lot easier to update a single screenshot when an interface updates than an entire video.
Oh, yeah.
But I just added a link to the article about setting up a subdomains. And so if you go through that step by step, you shouldn't have any issues.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, Pierre's got a question. Yes, all of these webinars that we do are recorded, and usually you have them up in what, 48 hours or so, Mark?
Usually, yeah. It depends on how much I break them down. So if you go to support.clickfunnels.com, it'll take you to our knowledge base. And then the easiest thing to do is actually just kind of scroll down to the bottom, and you'll see all these live Q&A webinar replays. And then the most recent are going to be towards the bottom. So like you can see here, September 20th, there's the full webinar, or you can actually see each video for each question. Same with the 27th. On the custom domains webinar that I did on October 4th, I didn't break it down because it kind of all muddled together. It's really all one single process. And the same with Zapier. But for something like today where there's different questions, I'll be breaking them down into separate articles for each video. So I should have the full webinar at least up there today, breaking them down into different videos. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer.
But that's super helpful, and this is a little bit inside baseball, but everybody will understand this once we explain it. You know that when I started, Mark, we worked with you and my client, Bill DeWeese, who's in the voiceover niche. One of the things that we're doing that I think a lot of people here might find interesting is that we've now created basically my client, Bill DeWeese, who's a voiceover artist trainer. He's now become Bill DeWeese plus the Truman Show. So what I have him do now is he basically, Facebook allows you to go live for up to 3 hours. So when he's in the studio, you basically can sit next to him, if you're a member, and watch him as he goes through his day. So at least every 2 hours and 45 minutes, he does a reset and then starts again. But the problem is that very few people want to sit and watch Bill DeWeese do voiceover work and all of his nonsense stuff for the entire 8 or 9 hours. So what you're doing here on this list is you're breaking down the questions, but we're also doing that within the Facebook Live elements so that people can find something because they don't want to go through 3 hours of material to find something. And this, to me, whether it's in that environment or in this environment, makes this infinitely more helpful.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, so that's and again, folks, if you're watching and if you have a Facebook group, remember now you've got up to 3 hours you can do live. But the problem is you have members in there that want to try and find something. They're going to get frustrated as all get out to try and go through 3 hours of material to find something. So just like what Mark has on the screen would be something I would recommend. Anyway, that's a little more on the marketing element here. So let's see. Question from Dan. I want a funnel page that promotes an OTO via autoresponders. After someone doesn't accept an OTO, how do I keep your tracking in place?
Tracking for what? For the one-click upsell?
Yeah, that's what I'm a little bit confused by as well. I just read this without rereading it. So if I want a funnel page that promotes a one-time offer via autoresponders after someone doesn't accept a one-time offer, how do I keep your tracking in place? I'm not really sure exactly, Dan.
I think I understand what he was saying. I think he clarified a little bit below for a one-time offer. So basically, sometimes it's easier just kind of sketch these things out on a whiteboard. But so basically, you have your order page, and that goes to your OTO page, right? Now, what happens is when somebody checks out on the order page, they're entering all their credit card information, and that transaction is getting authorized by Stripe or by Braintree, right?
Right.
What that does, and this is, if I understand this correctly from a technical standpoint, what that does is, so kind of behind the scenes here, it goes to Stripe or Braintree, and then Stripe actually sends back a token to ClickFunnels. And that token basically tells ClickFunnels, hey, charge that card for that amount. Now, as the customer goes through the funnel to a one-click upsell or an OTO page, it's going to use that token. That token kind of carries through so that the customer can be charged again without sending over another authorization request. Is that making sense so far?
I'm a little bit confused. They can be charged again. You mean for a different transaction?
Yes, so essentially what it is this token that comes back from Stripe.
Got it.
That's what Stripe is sending back, and that token carries through to this next page. Right. And this token is an authorization token, basically, that is just saying, hey, yeah, you can charge that card again without them needing to verify the details. And so when they get to this one-click upsell page, they just click one button. They just click yes or no. They click yes. It authorizes that the transaction is basically already authorized, and it charges their card again for a separate transaction. And that can go on for multiple OTOs within the same session, right? Now, what happens when somebody, let's just say they leave this page, so you can actually set up like an abandoned cart email sequence, right? So you have your autoresponder because somebody didn't purchase this.
Right.
The problem is that token doesn't carry through at this point.
And is that token based, Mark, on the fact that the browser is still open and therefore the token remains, or what determines the token staying intact?
So I believe, yes, that is the case. The token stays intact as long as that browser session is open, that window. And it could possibly work if you linked from the email to back to the OTO page. There is a chance that it could work. But for that 80% of people who click back here and it doesn't work, it's not worth it. You know what I mean? To just have to send them back to a broken page. And so the best solution would be to then create a separate order page for your OTO product and send them from the email back to that order page where they enter their credit card details again.
Right. They have to re-enter their details.
Right.
Got it. Well, I think, you know what, this might be a pretty good place to stop because we've covered a lot of the questions. Again, we can't cover all of your questions. Unfortunately, I hope we've covered most or many of them.
No, these were really good questions today. It was good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably a good place to quit. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that's about it.
Perfect. I think we gave people a lot of good information. And again, the recording will be up, and like Mark showed, he's going to take a little time to cut the videos into different pieces so that you can get a more exact. You can find things a little bit easier and get to just what you want. Well, thanks for everybody being on the call.
Yeah, and any other questions you guys have, feel free to reach out to our support team, and they'll be able to get back to you. Go to our Facebook group. There's lots of good resources there. Oh, and a note for those who have stayed on the webinar. I didn't announce this at the beginning. This Q&A webinar, we will be using a different platform next week. It's called Demio, D-E-M-I-O, Demio.com. They're in beta right now. You can sign up for free while they're in beta to test it out. It will be a paid service once they are out of beta, but they're getting a lot of people who are really liking their app, and so we'll actually be using Demio for the webinar next week. So you will need to register for that. I'll be sending out the link for you to register for that. But then the week after that, we'll be going back to the regular go-to webinar meeting. So yeah, that's about it.
Perfect.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys coming out. Any other last words, Fred?
No, I just think good job, and I'm sure that if you still have questions, again, support can help. But a lot of really good information. Really appreciate your time, Mark.
All right. Everyone have a great week. Take care.